In the heart of San Jose sits one of the strangest houses ever built. A mansion filled with staircases leading nowhere, doors that open into walls, hidden passageways, secret rooms, and mysteries that have lasted for more than 100 years. From the outside, the Winchester Mystery House looks like a beautiful Victorian mansion. But inside, almost nothing makes sense. For decades, people have asked the same question. Why was this house built this way? Was it simply unusual architecture? Or was something more mysterious happening behind these walls? This is the strange story of Sarah Winchester, the fortune she inherited, and the mansion that became one of California's most famous mysteries. Where is the Winchester Mystery House? The Winchester Mystery House is located in San Jose, California, in what is now known as Silicon Valley. But when Sarah Winchester purchased the property in the 1880s, the area looked completely different. Back then, it was just a small farmhouse surrounded by farmland. Nothing about it suggested it would become one of the most famous mansions in America. But over the next several decades, the house continued expanding, room after room, hallway after hallway. By the time construction finally stopped, the mansion had become a giant maze filled with bedrooms, ballrooms, libraries, gardens, and confusing passageways. But the strangest part was the bizarre design choices. Staircases ending at ceilings, windows inside the house looking into other rooms, doors opening into empty space. Visitors couldn't stop asking, why would someone build a house like this? Who was Sarah Winchester? Sarah Winchester was born in Connecticut in 1839. She was intelligent, educated, and came from a wealthy family. In 1862, she married William Wirt Winchester, heir to the Winchester Repeating Arms Company. The company became famous for producing the Winchester rifle, one of the most recognizable firearms in American history. The Winchester family became extremely wealthy, but Sarah's life soon changed because of tragedy. Her infant daughter Annie died at a young age. Years later, her husband William also passed away. Within a short period of time, Sarah lost both her child and her husband. Although she inherited millions of dollars, the losses deeply affected her. Eventually, she left the East Coast and moved to California. And that's where the legend of the mansion began. The legend of the spirits. The most famous story about Sarah Winchester involves a spiritual medium. According to legend, Sarah was told that the spirits of people killed by Winchester rifles were haunting her family. The medium supposedly warned her that she needed to move west and continuously build a home to stay safe. So Sarah began building, and she never seemed to stop. For nearly 40 years, construction continued on the mansion. Workers constantly added new rooms, hallways, staircases, and strange architectural features. Some people believed the confusing design was meant to confuse spirits, but historians today question how much of that legend is actually true. The real story behind the house. Many historians believe Sarah Winchester may have been misunderstood. Instead of a frightened woman hiding from ghosts, she may simply have been a creative and independent woman with unlimited money and a passion for architecture. Sarah personally helped design parts of the mansion and constantly experimented with new ideas. Some strange features also have practical explanations. The tiny stair steps throughout the house may have helped Sarah walk more comfortably later in life as she developed arthritis. And after the massive 1906 San Francisco earthquake damaged parts of the mansion, several destroyed sections were never rebuilt. Some strange doors and unfinished areas visitors see today may simply be the result of earthquake damage and years of remodeling. The strangest features inside the mansion. Walking through the Winchester Mystery House feels less like exploring a normal home and more like walking through a giant puzzle. There are staircases that lead directly into ceilings, doors that open into walls or empty air, windows built into floors and interior rooms, hallways that suddenly end. Every part of the mansion feels confusing and mysterious. And that mystery is exactly why people remain fascinated by it today. The obsession with the number 13. Another strange detail throughout the mansion is the number 13. Visitors can find windows with 13 panes, decorative designs with 13 sections, and rooms featuring repeated uses of the number. Because 13 is often connected to superstition, many people wondered if Sarah intentionally used it as part of some hidden message. Others believe the stories became exaggerated over time as the house grew famous. Like many parts of the Winchester story, nobody knows for sure. Was the house really haunted? Over the years, many visitors and employees have reported strange experiences inside the mansion. Some claim they heard footsteps in empty hallways. Others describe mysterious sounds or feelings that they weren't alone. Because of these stories, the Winchester Mystery House became known as one of the most famous, supposedly haunted places in America. But skeptics argue that old creaking floors, dark hallways, and the mansion's mysterious reputation can easily influence people's imagination. And that's what makes the house so interesting. The mystery depends on what you believe. Sarah Winchester's legacy. Beyond all the ghost stories, Sarah Winchester was also an incredibly unusual woman for her time. At a time when many women had very little independence, she controlled her own fortune, managed construction projects, and created something completely unique. The mansion even included advanced features for its time, like modern plumbing and heating systems. After Sarah Winchester died in 1922, the construction finally stopped. The mansion was later opened to the public, and visitors began traveling from around the world to see the strange house filled with mysteries. More than 100 years later, people are still asking the same question. Why was it built this way? And maybe that's the real reason the Winchester Mystery House remains so fascinating. Not because we know all the answers, but because we still don't.